We come into this place of worship overwhelmed by the world, tired with its pace, confused by its complexity, bewildered by its enormity, and humbled by our smallness in the great scheme of things. We try to comprehend what is happening in this world, to sort out the contradictions, to discern its patterns, to confess that too often it does not make sense to us. The devil is in the details, we are told, as if there were some inherent evil in small things that we do not understand. Might it not also be true that within the details, intricately woven into the basic fabric of things, there are details which make meaning of apparent senselessness, give us hope where despair has kept watch, intrigue us with the delights of living? Is it possible that the divine is also in the details? That the little things of loving and living and laughing are what make life matter to us? Is it not possible that the details of our daily existence are what we are all about, and that enjoyment of their very minuteness marks the meaning that we seek? To be sure, this is a difficult world. We live in hard times. The devil is occasionally in the details. Let us not forget that this is where the divine lives also. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the South Fork. As Unitarian Universalists, we do try to come together each week in worship to honor what is of worth, to celebrate the grace and the abundance in our lives, to pause the rush and flow of our lives in reverence and in thanksgiving, to remember our commitments to ourselves and our community and this world. Whoever you are, whoever you love, whatever your name for the sacred, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome to bring your full self here. I am the Reverend Kimberly Q Johnson. Our musician this morning is our very own Sara Gordon. Our tech host this morning is Kent Martin. If you are joining us online, know that you have access to closed captioning. If you are joining us here in the meeting house, you have access to hearing-assisted devices and also, I think, closed captioning on our screen up front. However you are joining us, this is a good time to silence your devices so that we might be here free from distractions. Do we have any visitors who would like to introduce yourselves this morning? Visiting in the meeting house, we hope you'll sign our guest book. Visiting online, we hope you'll use the link in your chat to sign our virtual guest book, which is a way for us to stay in touch with you and to learn a little bit about how you might be more involved here with our congregation. Let's take a moment now to greet someone who you haven't yet greeted this morning. This morning, we light our chalice with these words from Selena Fox, and Anne is going to light our chalice for us. We kindle this flame with love for our mothers and foremothers, past, present, and future. We kindle this flame in celebration of community and its generations. We kindle this flame with respect and support for the greater circle of life of which we are all a part. And we'll sing our first hymn together. It is in your gray hymnal as we come marching, and we think this is 109. 109 in your gray hymnal. Some of us might know it as Bread and Roses. It is an anthem of the early 20th century women's labor movement. Next to Solidarity Forever, that was one of the early labor songs that I learned, and I think it is my favorite. We need bread, but we also need roses. we need food, and we also need beauty. Our first message this morning is a story, which I think we're going to have on the screen. And so it might take a moment for us to all pull it up for ourselves and each other. Malala's Magic Pencil by Malala Yousafzai and illustrated by Kristof. So, yes, please. Do you believe in magic?
Yes.
Good. When I was younger, I used to watch a TV show about a boy who had a magic pencil. If he was hungry, he drew a bowl of curry, and it appeared. If he and his friends were in danger, he drew a police officer. The boy was a little hero, always protecting people who needed help. How I wanted a magic pencil too. I think our story is a little ahead of me. If I had a magic pencil, I would use it to put a lock on my door so my brothers couldn't bother me, stop time so I could sleep an extra hour every morning, erase the smell of the trash dump near our house. If you had a magic pencil, what would you use it for? It's not in the story, I'm just asking you. All pollution gone, for the world to be a better place. A new generation.
Come on, guys. What ideas you got over here?
That's enough. Malala continues, I would use my pencil to make other people happy.
Do good.
I would draw the most beautiful dresses in the world for my mother, the best buildings in the valley for my father, so he could open many schools where children would study for free. A proper ball, so my brothers and I no longer had to play with an old sock stuffed with rubbish. Every night, before I went to bed, I wished for a magic pencil of my own. And every morning, when I would wake up and check my cupboard, the magic pencil was never there. One day, I was throwing away potato peels and eggshells at the dump. I was wrinkling my nose, swatting away flies, and making sure I didn't step on anything dirty with my nice shoes, when I saw a girl about my age sorting through trash into piles. Nearby, boys were fishing for metal scraps using magnets on strings. When my father returned from work, I told him what I'd seen. It made him sad. Abba, I asked. Yes, Johnny, he said back. I always liked when he called me Dear One. Why haven't I seen that girl in my class? Because he said, but he didn't finish right away. Because, Johnny, in our country, not everyone sends their daughters to school. And some children must work to support their family. Those boys will sell metal scraps that they find. If they went to school, their families would go hungry. School was my favorite place, but I had never considered myself lucky to be able to go. My father had always said, Malala will live free as a bird. Now I wondered, how truly free I'd be. That night, I thought about the families that didn't have enough food and the girl who couldn't go to school, and even about how, when I was older, I would be expected to cook and clean for my brothers. Because where I came from, girls weren't allowed to become what we dreamed of. I knew then that if I had a magic pencil, I would use it to draw a better world, a peaceful world. First, I would erase war, poverty, and hunger. Then, I would draw boys and girls together as equals. Over the next few years, instead of wishing for a magic pencil every night, I worked hard in school every day. I wanted to be one of the top students in my class. But soon, powerful and dangerous men declared that girls were forbidden from attending school. They walked the streets of our city now. They carried weapons. One by one, girls stopped coming to school. Abba, where are all the students? They don't feel safe here, Johnny. How could a few men stop all the girls in our valley from going to school? If more people knew what was happening to us, I thought, they might help. Wishing wasn't enough. Someone needed to speak out. Why not me? I wrote about what it felt like to be scared to walk to school and how some of my friends had moved away because of the threat they faced in our city. I wrote about how much I loved school and how proud I was of my uniform. Once I started writing, I didn't stop. I wrote speeches and traveled around my country sharing my story. I even talked to a reporter from a famous international newspaper. People actually wanted to learn about my life. I spoke for all the girls in my valley who couldn't speak for themselves. My voice became so powerful that the dangerous men tried to silence me. But they failed. And now, my voice is louder than ever, louder because people have joined me. And together, we make a chorus, standing up for what we believe. We raise our voices for those in need, help people in danger, even if they are an ocean away. We think of the world as a family. Do you still believe in magic? I do. I wrote alone in my room, but people all over the world were reading my story. Millions now know it and help me spread my message of hope. I had at last found my magic, the magic I was looking for, in my words and in my work. I am Malala. I've always wished I could make the world a more peaceful place. And every day, I work to make my wish come true. One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. May your roots grow deep. May your branches spread far. May you find this world to be a wonderful place where your voice is heard because it matters, and leave it better for those who follow. This is a time in our service each week when we share our deep meditation. It will be in words and then silence and then music. When Sara is playing music, you are invited to also light a silent candle of concern or joy or sorrow. These words are from the Reverend Angela Herrera. Consider this an invitation to you. Yes, you. With all your happiness and your burdens, your hopes and regrets. An invitation if you feel good, and an invitation if you do not, if you are aching. And there are so many ways to ache. Maybe your heart is heavy or hardened. Maybe it is troubled. And peace can take up residence only in a tiny corner, only on the edge. With all that is going on in the world and in your life, ni modo. It doesn't matter. All that you need for a deep and comforting peace to grow lies within you. Let it spread into your life. Let it pour from your heart and your life into the world. And once it is in the world, let it shine upon all beings. Let us hold these few moments in silence. So this is March. It is Women's History Month in the United States. And like Black History Month, it started out as just a week, Women's History Week, in the late 1970s. They picked this week in March because it would be part of what was already International Women's Day. In 1980, it became a full month. But International Women's Day has been a thing since the early 20th century, a product of the US and the European labor movement. So I'm pointing in the right direction. Please do go take a look at our banner outside in honor of International Women's Day. It will hang for the rest of the month. The UN theme is rights, justice, action for all women and girls. I will also say, we don't talk about Black History Month here all the time. We also don't talk about Women's History Month here all the time. Having been Black and female all of my life, I am sometimes astounded that the idea of equal rights is still a thing. And having been Black and female all of my life, I am usually not surprised that the fight for equal rights is still a thing. The title for this is Half the Sky. When I was in college, it might have been graduate school, but I think I was younger, I would see often this poster of a brown-skinned woman holding up the world. And so when I think half the sky, I think of this powerful image of this brown-skinned woman holding up the world. That proverb, women hold up half the sky, is attributed to Mao Zedong, the Communist Party leader in the probably 60s, maybe 50s. This idea was intended to bring women into the labor force. Also, this sort of powerful idea of women. My powerful idea of women, probably from college when I learned about feminism, probably from the labor movement where I was surrounded by powerful women. Leaders, labor leaders, not actually typical for an old industrial union like the auto workers. But it's also true that where we organized in New York, we actually organized in the building that was the site of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory is known for a fire there in March in 1911. It was the most, to that date, most devastating domestic fire in the country. 146 garment workers were killed. Most of them, 123, women and girls. Most of them recent Italian and Jewish immigrants, aged between 14 and 23. They died in a fire because when it broke out, they were unable to escape because their bosses had closed the doors, locking them in, which is a way to keep them at work and not able to take breaks. That fire spawned the beginning of the International Garment Workers Union. And they fought for better working conditions for women in sweatshops. Today, almost 50% of union members are women. Powerful women making powerful change for themselves and others, who overcome obstacles and who are architects of their own future. This is what I think of when I think of women holding up half the sky. And it is also true that I have struggled and struggled with what to say about the lives of women around the world today, when we are engaged in so many wars around the world. And we know that women are disproportionately impacted by war. One of the first targets from the US and Israeli strike in Iran was a school for women and girls. A school for women and girls. There's ongoing war in Palestine and Ukraine and Sudan, which nobody ever talks about. And women there suffer displacement and sexual violence, which is not a byproduct of war, but an actual tool of war, deliberate. And they are left to care for their families in a devastated land when men have gone to actively fight. So alongside my poster of women holding up the world, I am confronted with this book, Half the Sky. Some of you may have read that by Nicholas Kristof and Sheryl and WuDunn in the early 2000s. They write about global gender inequality, systemic gender violence, gender oppression, trafficking, lack of education. What does it mean to say that women hold up half the sky? When women are the subjects of gender inequality around the world, when almost 50% of the world's population, 47.9% of the world's population, experience systemic gender-based oppression. And not only in the developing world, but also here at home. Here at home, where the gender wage gap overall means that women make 76 to 81 cents for every dollar that men make. But Black women make 63 cents. Latina women make 54 cents. Indigenous women make 52 cents, earn 52 cents for every dollar that men make in this country. Here in this country, when 1 in every 3 women will be the victim of sexual assault. Still, this was a statistic when I was a teenager. I am far from a teenager, and it is still the case that 1 in 3 women in this country will be the victim of sexual assault. When political representation by women is at a record high at 28%. 28% of US congressional seats are held by women. This country ranks somewhere between 63rd and 67th in the world when it comes to gender parity in our leadership. If women hold up half the sky, so if the sky is falling, we have to ask ourselves why. How can we imagine a world of peace with no pollution and gender equity where we are all free and safe when women are not free and safe? And we are also still surrounded in our lives by powerful women who are making powerful change for themselves and those around them. Women who are the architects of their lives and others. If any of you follow the UUA on Facebook, you should follow the UUA, the Unitarian Universalist Association on Facebook. There was a post that began earlier in the week to name a Unitarian Universalist woman who inspired you. And within a couple of days, there were 286 comments. Some of them are well-known. Clara Barton, Margaret Fuller, Martha Sharp, who we've talked about here, who helped children and families escape from Nazi Germany, and with her husband founded the UU Service Committee. But some were less well-known. A few people called out Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. One person wrote, Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, American educator, abolitionist, suffragist, and novelist and poet. Beginning in 1845, she was one of the first African American women to be published in the United States. She lectured widely. She was a member of the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia. Or someone called out Emily Johnson Cogswell, born 1818, who got on a westbound train in 1868. So she was my age, that's not that old. Got on a train after losing her child, her husband, her mother, and her livelihood. She rode it to the end of the line, North Platte, Nebraska. There, she founded a Unitarian fellowship and the public library, returning to Lexington, Massachusetts several times to raise funds. She finally came home to die in 1897. The North Platte Fellowship survived another 20 years. Both the fellowship and Emily are now forgotten. But not forgotten by everyone. Some people named firsts. Remarkably, both the Unitarians and the Universalists claim to have ordained the first woman in ministry in the U.S. The Unitarians claim Antoinette Brown Blackwell, who was ordained in 1853. The Universalists claim Olympia Brown, who was ordained in 1863. However you shake it out, between one or the other half of our heritage, we are responsible for ordaining the first woman minister in the U.S. Some named more contemporary people like Viola Luzo, or local heroes like Denny Davidoff. Some of us here know and remember Denny Davidoff. This was the last pulpit that she preached in. She was a layperson, a lay leader. This was the last pulpit that she preached from before she died. They wrote, her devotion to the faith, her service at the local, regional, and national level, and her tireless efforts to strengthen our movement, and her humor were so impressive. She always fought the good fight, lived her beliefs, and led by example. Sheryl Bertrumowitz named Barb Colvin. She wasn't important, but her love was so strong, it brought me to her church, which sounds pretty freaking important to me. People named my mom, my wife. Melody Reed named my two dear daughters, who reintroduced me to Unitarian Universalism in a good way. I think that there are some young women who are waiting for the revolution. And there are some young women who are doing the revolution right now, making it happen. My question for you, not for right now, but to think about, who was the woman in your past or your present whose courage inspires you? Who is the woman that you want people to know about? Who you think is forgotten? Who you think might not be important? But whose love is changing the world? And because we know faith is more than just thinking, and as Malala showed us, more than just wishing and dreaming. What is the way? What is the way that you can make the world safer, more fair, more just for women and girls? We know the truth. The struggles women and girls face are not accidents or isolated stories. They are woven into systems, into laws and cultures and expectations, histories that have too often treated women's lives as less valuable, less credible. And yet, across generations, women have refused to disappear. They have organized and marched. They have spoken truth when silence would have been easier and safer. They have cared for families and communities and movements, sometimes all at the same time. They have demanded the right to learn and to lead and to vote and to live free from violence, to be fully human in a world that sometimes tried to deny it. Today and this month, we remember those women, the famous ones and the ones whose names will never ever be in a book. The grandmother who kept going when the world was stacked against her. The teacher who opened a door. The friend who told the truth. The activist who refused to stop fighting for justice. They are part of a great human story of bending the world toward freedom. Will you join together in singing our last hymn? It's 10:07 in your teal hymnal. There's a river flowing in my soul. have a few announcements. They're short, but you still might want to sit. We always have meditation here on Wednesday afternoons at 5:30, led by Michelle Dobbs. We hope that you will come if you need a midweek reset. This Saturday, we will also be hosting once again the multi-faith iftar. Iftar is a meal that breaks a fast during Ramadan, and once during the month, we get to join with the Islamic Center of the Hamptons, who use this space, and break fast with them and share their religious holiday. And how many of you have already bid on something in our Dining for Dollars auction? How many of you know that the bidding is now open? How many of you are offering an event in this auction? Look around. You guys do not want to miss out. If you have not already registered, you need to register in order to bid. The bidding will be open for 2 weeks. This is our first attempt at this kind of a fundraiser, and we really do hope that you will make it a success by your participation. So please go online. If you haven't registered yet, register. Check out all of the fun events that are available. We're going to have a good time this spring and summer with each other. Our offering is collected at the back of the room each day, each week. One basket for our general fund, the other for our Helping Hand Fund, which goes to support local organizations in need. Please do give as generously when it's in the back of the room as you would if it were circulating in the middle of the room. And join us after this service for fellowship in our fellowship hall. Our closing words are from Leah Derlin-Jones. For those who came before us, we offer gratitude and thanks. May their memories be a blessing. May we feel surrounded by their love, and may we go forth from this place. Let us be inspired by their courage, their wisdom, and their dreams. Let us honor them by doing the work of loving boldly, loving mightily, and creating heaven right here on earth. Amen. And be blessed. We extinguish our chalice with the unison words in your order of service. We extinguish its flame